Hi, my name is Rachel, and I am a courageous girly. Breaking away from what society expects me to do. Society has dictated that if you're in a situation, you have to stay in it and make it work, break your back, like be broken and bent, but you're still in that situation to make it work. So for me, stepping away from such a situation and finding that I was much happier, I was becoming myself, I was achieving so much more, it taught me that I do not have to conform. You know, many people speak over you and they project their insecurities on you and they tell you, when you move out of this, where will you go? What will you do? Who will you be? And they just keep projecting this fear, but you go back to yourself and you sit and you're like, okay, at the end of the day, it's me. Is this serving me? Am I a better person for it? Is this making me happy? What am I getting out of this? And so when you leave that situation, you find that it's easy to leave situations that make you uncomfortable and not to conform, with people's limitations and expectations of you, and just do what works for you.
I'm basically a person who loves to be in my safe space, so it's easier for me to do things that I'm supposed to do. But one of the areas in my life where I found myself being very non-conforming has been most especially in my career and education. So at university, I studied electrical engineering, and right now I'm an entrepreneur. So moving from understanding that, life is not black or white. You don't necessarily have to do what you studied in school. You're not tied to only what you studied in school. Understanding that now there is a whole lot of flexibility in the workplace, and there are so many jobs and opportunities that are now coming up, new opportunities, new jobs. So being able to understand that, electrical engineering was amazing, it was great, but maybe it just wasn't for me. So giving myself the freedom to not conform, to not tie myself to something and push so hard through something that did not come so naturally to me, in as much as it was very scary, but venturing into this very new space, which I knew nothing about, but then trusting my gut and also facing my fears literally every day. That courage.
When we are being raised, we go through this particular structure from primary school, secondary, blah, 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 blah. And then, finally you get a job. So when I was at university, in my second year, I decided to ask for a job because I just felt like, okay, you know what? We go to university so we can get papers and then get employment. The whole thing is we want to get employment. But while I'm here, can't I be doing a side gig while I study? So I can also build the experience. By the time I'm done with my 3-year course, I have maybe a year of experience in the work field. So courageously, I applied for a job I had no idea about. They didn't call me back, but they did call me a year later. And they told me to go for a screen test. And then the long and short of it all is I got the job a year later, a year after I'd submitted my application. When I started working, Banange money was just so sweet. It was so liberating. There was a lot of freedom in having your own money. I felt like, you know what? I know my parents expect me to first wrap up this degree. That's what they expect. But they're also paying my tuition fees. So I thought of what my parents, expected. Is they're paying tuition fees. This is what they expect. They want me to graduate and then get a job. But now I have a job. But this job is in Kampala and school is in Entebbe. I can't juggle the two, unfortunately. So I decided to take the bold move to put school on hold, not to drop out. Quote me on that. I didn't drop out of school. I put it on hold so I could just work for a year and maybe try to get some experience, so that by the time I'm wrapping up school, I have something to fall back to. That didn't go well with my parents, as you can imagine. And somewhere along the employment chain, I fell down a rabbit hole of wanting to work, and I forgot about school, which led to my near cancellation from university. So I was nearly discontinued. And then I remember my dad calling me one day and telling me, Blessing, I know how much this job means to you. I know how liberating it must feel to have your own money. But imagine one day if your employers ask you for academic papers and you don't have them? Like, what's your winning advantage over the other person who comes? They can do what you can do, and they also have the papers. Like, I just remember sitting and thinking, oh my God, like reality hit me. So I made the decision to go back to university and see if the school could take me back. I remember the academic registrar telling me, your year is done. Unfortunately, we can't have you back. You would have to start afresh. Yeah, it dawned on me as like, okay, so like, what do I do? But you see, the thing about being courageous, even when you know like there is no way out, you're like, I'll rather try. I remember asking the assistant to the academic registrar whether they could just pardon me and give me one last chance so I could just wrap up my education. Weirdly, yeah, like God works in mysterious ways. Yeah, I was given a chance. I was able to do both school and work at the same time. So in that way, I wasn't able to conform to society's timelines or what my parents had put in place for us, all the way my siblings ahead of me had. And that takes a courageous person to do that, to achieve both.
Happiness and success for me would not even mean making so much money. Well, that would be a good thing, or that's what we would all ideally want. But for me, success, even for my brand, has been how many spaces my brand has entered, or how many people now know my brand, and how many people I've been able to meet because of my brand. I know that my name has been, or my brand name has been mentioned in spaces that I never thought I would be able to be in. So collectively, all these things are what success is to me. And happiness, I know for sure that choosing to take on my passion as a serious business is something that has truly brought me so much joy. I remember last year, or late last year into this year, when so many organizations in Europe reached out to me to be part of their expos. So that has been an exciting time in my career as a creative entrepreneur.
At that job, I couldn't wear heels because I needed to carry heavy things. And this lady comes to me and tells me, in front of people in a meeting, Maxine, you're spoiling that dress. Why don't you wear heels on that dress? You need to buy heels. First of all, I wasn't getting paid much. And then secondly, why am I wearing heels when I'm going to carry boxes and sacks from the post office? So I remember I felt so small. The way she said it, she didn't come to me personally. She said it when everyone was in the room, and I don't like being embarrassed. And from that moment, I knew we are all going to die. So I'm not going to sit down and someone talks to me like that. So from that moment on, I decided, if you're going to disrespect me, if I have never disrespected you and you're going to disrespect me, I will speak up. If I'm doing a great job and you're demeaning my work, I will stand down. Either I will come to you and ask you, what have I done wrong? Can I apologize? Or do you want me off?
Realizing that I was living life because I wanted to fit in, and I was living life based on what I'd seen around me because that's what I had always known. So I remember one day when I went into therapy, I had already been on a journey of trying to shed that off, but I didn't know how to start, But I went on in therapy and I got equipped with the tools to sort of like own my true power, because I am a very multifaceted person, and everyone who knows me, I keep pushing the boundary. I am such a visionary. I'm a dreamer. I can't even tell you, like, the things I want to do in life are endless. And I felt so bad for being like that. I felt like, why isn't it enough? Why, because I felt like everyone settles at some point, and I was like, it's not enough for me to settle. So being a nonconformist has come from a place of shedding off people pleasing and saying, look, if I'm happy with the life that I'm living, that is enough for me. I have only two people to please, God and myself. And for me, that is enough. So I think that I would say is my journey to being a courageous girlie who is a nonconformist. Another example is, I remember in law school, I was very, very creative. One of my professors told me, you must, and as an A student, so she told me, you must study so hard and you should not become like these people who are vending clothes. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's bad for a lawyer to want to design clothes, because I had those desires, you know. And I realized now at my stage, I'm like, no, I can still be a lawyer, be an entertainer, be a creative, be a designer. I can be everything I want to be, because there's no box I should fit in.
Doing things that someone may think is absolutely crazy, which could be traveling. And I think for me, I've always been a sort of planner. I like organizing things. I love it. It's something that I have a very big passion for. So I know that that is something that I want to do in my life. Plan my trips, plan parties, plan things, you know? And you may tell someone, you know what, my dream is to travel to Dubai or to Zanzibar. And they'll tell you, but you don't have the money? I mean, but you know it's so expensive? I mean, I know all these things. And you find that when you're telling someone your dreams and what you really want to do, they're going to tell you no. They're going to tell you all the reasons why you should not do it. And for me, I've learned that you don't need to tell people what you're going to do. You just do it. You plan and you do. And they will say all those things, either to you or not to your face, but in the end, do what is calling you and always strive to reach that version of yourself where you feel most wholesome.
As a content creator, success to me looks like I've been picked out by a brand, I've been chosen to collaborate with different creatives. Like now, I really feel that success looks like that to me as a creative, because if I say that success looks as when I get a big building or when I have 10 cars, I think it doesn't count like that. I don't think like that. I feel like success is celebrating constant small and gradual wins. As regards non-conformity, I have been built to believe that we are not supposed to stay or be in one place for a very long time or have the same take of knowledge for a long time. Things evolve, things change. Even in this creative world, things are changing, new apps are coming up, and you have to think outside the box, because if you've known something for a very long time, it doesn't hurt when you have a new sense of knowledge or a new take. So I believe that as a creative, you need to always be think out of the box, but also do not conform to what's there now, and also be open-minded to learn and adapt to new things, and also adapt to life as it evolves.
Hi guys, I'm crying. Now my eyes are going to be watery. Because I've never thought of it. I was like, eh. Okay. This one won't be in BTS. Behind that. It's there. Hi, honey.